Hi everyone, welcome to Udacity's Noun Degree Q&A. My name is Mark. I'm a coach at Udacity,
I'm Jeff. I'm also a coach here at Udacity.
and today we are joined by Kevin, a graduate student, and also Dallas, another graduate student from Udacity's Front-End Nanodegree. Can you two wave and say hi?
Hey guys.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, and what we're going to talk about today is we'll give you a brief overview of what the Nano Degree is. Then we'll talk to Kevin about his experience with the Nano Degree, why he enrolled, what he learned, his overall experience with the program, and what he's doing now. Then we'll jump in and talk to Dallas about the same things. And then at the end, we'll have a short, or we'll have a good amount of time, 20 to 30 minutes, where we can answer some of your questions. So start posting them now. We'll get to them towards the end of the Q&A about the midway point, and make sure you click +1 next to the ones that you like, and we'll go from there. We'll be also sharing a discount coupon code about halfway through and at the end of the session, so keep an eye out for that to get a discount on the Nano Degree. Yeah, so Mark, why don't you give us a brief description of what Nano Degree is?
Awesome. So great. So the brief description of the Noun Degree is basically it's a curriculum that emphasizes projects. Mm-hmm. You go through a series of projects and you will build a portfolio of projects that you could show off to potential employers, on friends, your family, and really the important piece is that this curriculum is industry approved, such as from our partners such as Google, AT&T, Hack Reactor, and GitHub. What's really important is that this Nano Degree, this front-end web development Nano Degree, is developed in conjunction with these employers. This means that our partners such as Google and AT&T are specifically looking for people, potential employees who can exhibit the exact skills that this Nano Degree will teach you. This is a very project-heavy focused curriculum. You'll be working on projects along with your fellow cohort members. You'll get feedback from your peers, as well as feedback from Udacity's coaches, such as us, as well as Udacity's evaluators. Now, in addition to learning these technical skills, we'll also hold events aimed at professional development. We often have career events approximately every month, and we hold workshops. We invite people from industries such as LinkedIn, GitHub. We have, and also I think Twitter too.
Yep.
Yeah, we had a hiring manager at Twitter who talked about the hiring process for junior engineers, and the subjects cover the gamut. We cover about such as improving your resume, your LinkedIn profile, how to improve your LinkedIn profile, extending your network, how to develop your network, as well as how to prepare for interviews. Now, the enrollment for the front-end Noun Degree begins today, and it will last until the end of Tuesday next week. Awesome.
Cool.
So,
should we get to it?
Shall we just get to it? So, because everyone just really cares about the student experience, so we're going to be talking with Kevin, our graduate from the Front-End Noun Degree. So, Kevin, you are actually broadcasting to everyone. So, how are you doing, Kevin?
I'm great. I got a bit of a cold, but other than that, pretty good.
Awesome, great. So, can we just start off and let's just ask you, what is your background? Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay, yeah. So going into the Nano Degree, I actually, when I went to school, I took finance. So I have a Bachelor of Commerce in Finance, and I took 1 or 2 computer science courses. But I was really, as far as web development, more of a hobbyist. I just had kind of built a few websites on my own and done a little bit of HTML and CSS.
Awesome. So your experience level and background before the front-end Noun Degree, would you say it was it a very novice background, Kevin?
Really, yeah, I would say novice. So I had kind of an idea of what type of technologies were being used, but just a very basic understanding of them.
Awesome. Now, that's very interesting. So, like the next question, I want to ask you is like, why did you choose this nano degree over the other options that are out there?
So I was working full time. I was looking into basically whatever options I could do online. And I didn't outright choose a nano degree at first. I actually enrolled in a university that you can take some courses through correspondence. And it was after kind of getting into the nano degree that I really, after the first project or two, that I really kind of zoned in on that as my main kind of learning resource.
Got it, got it. And you felt like the nano degree was just the right amount of support and pacing for you?
For me, it was perfect. The way that it's self-paced, it really appealed to me. You can kind of do it whenever you want. There are deadlines, but they're pretty loose, and you can do it well ahead of schedule if you like. And the support was really what won me over. So I was taking university courses through correspondence, and you can hardly get any kind of support from other students in the class, or the instructor. You can email them once a week and maybe get a response back in a couple of days. But with the nano degree, I found I'm talking to students every day, instructors multiple times a day, like just unparalleled support. That's really makes me lean towards a nano degree as opposed to those correspondence university courses.
Awesome. So basically, with this front-end Nanodegree, you've gone through the whole coursework. Do you have? Can you show us a project that you worked on to show our
potential students?
Potential students. Thank you. What's the potential of this Nanodegree?
Sure. Yeah. So for the third project you do, let's see here. The third project, they have you make a game, and this is I'll show you a video that will show you the basic functionality of what you have to get going in the game. You need this player here to move across the screen, and if you get hit by one of these bugs, you get sent back to the start, like that. Is the basic task. So I added some different art and sound effects. Actually, I better refresh because these logs are way there. But so yeah, mine makes sound and has these logs that get added in that take you along with, and a funny looking monkey instead of the guy. That's the basic functionality. The kind of message there is, or the kind of what you're learning is object-oriented JavaScript. So each of these cars and your player and the logs, they're all objects that you have to go in and code and figure out the collisions and interactions with.
Awesome. Let's see if you can stop screen sharing, Kevin. We'll go here. Once Kevin stops screen sharing. Okay, we're back. Okay, great. Thanks. That's a great looking project. And basically, what you showed us at the beginning was just the minimum specifications, right? That we wanted out of our student. And like, what really motivated you to go above and beyond and to do the additional research to add in these extra features and art?
Well, at first, so you're given a very basic engine, and it's pretty overwhelming at first. You kind of have to read through and see what's going on, and you just kind of take it step by step. I put my drew the player first, and then the enemies, and pretty soon you get pretty comfortable with it, and then it's kind of interesting. It's exciting. For me, just just building it in steps, I started thinking, well, yeah, this is great, but now I need logs. I need that, like, this is a Frogger game, so I need to have the logs in, and just the challenge of doing it, and also seeing what other students came up with. Like, I wasn't the first one to finish that project. I saw what some other guys did, and they just had some outstanding projects. So the other students really push you along too, make you step your game up a bit.
No, great. So thanks for showing us your project, Kevin. And really, these are really great skills that you've exhibited just by working on this project. And now we're going to transition a little bit to talking about these specific skills. Really, Kevin, with these new skills that you've learned, can you tell us how has it helped you improve your potential to get a new job, or the potential to improve your current job? How do you plan to use your new skills in the future, and how are the career events helping you out so far?
Okay, so as far as the skills go, you do get a very good base understanding of all the fundamentals you need: HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and the way the program's designed, it ramps up in difficulty, where the first few projects you can really just do them with the courses, and then afterwards you're kind of encouraged to go out and use different APIs and libraries and dig through documentation, and you kind of learn how to learn about all these new technologies you might be using, and that was the thing that I found most.
Looks like we lost
Kevin for a second.
Looks like we lost Kevin for a second. So,
oh, is he back?
Is he back?
Hey, Kevin, we lost you for a second there.
Kevin, we lost you for a second there. Your connection hiccup a little bit. So, you were telling us that you were finishing your sentence talking about skills.
Uh-oh. Can you give me more of a prompt then? I don't know how much you got.
Like you were telling us that the skills that you learned were, what was it? Can you help me out, Jeff?
Yeah, learn how to learn.
Yeah.
What did you say, Dallas?
I said one of the last things you said, Kevin, was learn how to learn.
Yeah, there you go. Great, thank you.
Okay, yeah. So the most valuable thing I found was so when I went out to looking for jobs, people would ask about specific frameworks and things. Like I was asked about Angular, and I wasn't familiar with the Angular framework, but I was confident enough that I could go in, dig into the documentation, and actually for like a second interview, I was able to complete an Angular project in a few days, and I just had that base of how to learn a technology like that. So that was the most valuable skill that I think I picked up from the Nano Degree. And then the career services were really good. They had the LinkedIn event where they had a former, I think, vice president, or I don't know who, from LinkedIn, and then the former hiring manager and VP of engineering from Twitter. I actually, just from those and from the help from career services at Udacity, I revamped my whole LinkedIn profile, which is, I guess, a must, and also got good tips on that really did apply when I was being interviewed. So those were great. Yeah, sorry. Was there anything else any other aspect of that question I missed there?
Yeah, other aspect is like, so basically, it's helping you interviewing and getting a new job, right? And can you share with us any prospects that you're working on?
Oh yeah, okay.
Right now.
Right on. So I initially I got an interview with a company in the States called Make School, and they're kind of a boot camp. They were interested, but I'm Canadian, and they said that they weren't able to provide me with a visa for that position. So if I could sort out my own visa, then I could go and kind of continue on the interview process, but that wasn't available. So I actually applied at Udacity, and just recently went through that interview process and was offered a short-term contract as a front-end engineer with Udacity.
Awesome. Awesome, and yeah, we're all excited to have you on board, and we hope to work with you further, Kevin. So yeah, congratulations on getting that first foot. I'll say that first foot in the door for your front-end web development career. So congratulations again.
Yeah, congrats, Kevin. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I'm quite excited myself. So.
Awesome. We have just really 2 more questions for you, Kevin.
Okay.
This next question is, reflecting back on your experience, was it worth it? Was the $200 a month worth it for you?
Yeah, definitely. For me, 100%. I think you could split it up into different components of the program, and they would each be worth $200 a month. I would pay. I've said this to Dallas before. I would pay $200 a month just to be a part of the community, just to get that support from students and from instructors. Like I've interacted with Mark a lot, and the curriculum manager Mike Wales. These are actually guys that you get to talk to, multiple times a week, or that input to me is worth easily the $200 a month.
Great, thank you, Kevin. Last question for you. What advice would you give to future students entering the Nano Degree?
I would say definitely to be successful and to get the most out of it, you want to really participate in the community. That's a big aspect of it, because the course material is there for free. If you want to just kind of go at your own and view the videos, you can do that for free, and don't bother I guess enrolling. But if you really want to get something out of it, and you're serious about learning or becoming a web developer, participate in the community, get involved on the forum, talk to people in chat, help out your other students. I think a huge opportunity to learn is to try and teach other people what you're learning. And I really took advantage of that. I know Dallas did. Dallas, he's an all-star for helping people out. And I think that really helps to build your own knowledge. If you can explain it to somebody and solve kind of the problems that maybe you didn't even encounter, then it really gives you a fuller understanding of the material. And that would be my #1 tip for anybody going into a nano degree.
Awesome. Well, Kevin, thank you so much. We really enjoyed just talk with you and learn more about your experience. So for people out there, you get the chance to ask Kevin some more questions. So if you have any questions specifically for Kevin, just post your question on the Q&A app, and we'll +1 it, and we'll get to it.
Yeah, for sure. Now Kathleen's going to post the coupon code for you all. We'll share that with you so that you can get a discount on signing up for the Front-End Web Developer Nanodegree. Encourage you to use that when you, if you are to enroll. Now we get the great chance to talk to Dallas. He's another one of our graduate students from the Front-End Web Developer Nanodegree. He's also enrolled in the Full Stack Web Developer Nanodegree now. So I guess Dallas, just to start, why don't you tell us a little bit about your background, your experience with front-end web development coming in, and we'll go from there.
Sure. All right. So background-wise, I did not go to college or any formal education beyond high school. I'm in the United States, but I have been a long time kind of tech nerd. I was programming little games in BASIC back in the days of, Oregon Trails. So from then on, I've always done at least something with tech. In the early 90s, I got into making web pages, basically for as much as you can do as a living as a teenager. But at the time, there was no JavaScript, there was no CSS. HTML was a completely different creature than it is now. It was like HTML 1 or 2.0, and there were, even convincing companies that there was a point in having a web presence, and that the internet was not a fad was kind of a difficult task at the time, especially for a teenager. So I did that for 3 or 4 years, did some, graphic design. Then I moved on to doing game development for another 3 or 4 years. And I got completely out of programming and was doing more design business, that part of it, running the team. And then after that, I didn't do anything except for personal whatever, scrounging whatever tiny project I needed for something together for another 15, 20 years. So I came into the program knowing basically less than nothing, because what I did know, the tiny bit I remembered from HTML, I had to unlearn in order to learn anything. So I think I was probably, it was nice because I recognized the way things looked, and it wasn't too confusing to see what we call the DOM nowadays. But yeah, it was. I didn't even know what jQuery was, for example, and I think basically that is the internet nowadays. If you don't know what that is, then that's about as zero level as it gets. So.
For sure. So coming from someone with, a little bit of experience from back then and looking to learn something new, tell us about your motivations for joining the Front-End Nanodegree and maybe why you chose to sign up.
Yeah, I work for AT&T, and as you guys mentioned a couple of times, they're one of the partners on this. Their names are all over it, and the little globe is on some of this stuff. I think they kind of helped make the Front-End Nanodegree a reality. And they have this big push right now called Workplace 2020, where we're moving from lots and lots of hardware-based stuff. I don't know if anybody knows about the telecommunication industry, but the T used to stand for telegram and telegraph. So we are now going all software, and a lot of the skill sets and everything change along with that. So a company with 250,000 employees is basically completely restructuring itself, and a large part of that is skills. Software. If we're going to move to software, we need software development, whether that's web presence so people can go on and do those sort of things, or just software on the back end so that it all works without the hardware. And because they're pushing it really hard and basically telling you if you want to be kind of sure that you're still relevant in 5 years at this company, you need to do something, then it's a little bit of a no-brainer, to go into the thing that they're helping create and telling us that they need. So that was my motivation coming in. Also, it's a perfect excuse to come back to something that I enjoyed in the first place. Now that I'm old enough that people don't look at me like I'm some sort of 16-year-old, and I do some VBA and VBS, some development at AT&T when I do report automation. So I'm not a complete stranger, or wasn't. Obviously, I'm not now because I've gone through this, but I was not a complete stranger to programming. So.
Cool. Now that you've gone through the front end, has it helped you at all at your current job, or have you been able to use it you've learned?
Yeah, if you'd asked me that question a month ago, the answer would be no. Because another thing, if anybody works in corporate America, is that it's very structured and things move. Even when they're moving quick, some parts of them move very slow. They're not going to start using a new technology until it's 3 or 4 years old, and they're 100% sure it's not going to break, probably. So, and I'm technically not in a role that's considered development, so what I'm allowed to do is somewhat restructured or restricted. But I have actually found opportunities to use it in the last month. I've built some automated back-end stuff, and on the front end, I've used Bootstrap, which is something that I didn't even know existed before the front-end degree. And then, I set up a little IIS server, and I serve some, I guess status pages is the best thing you'd call them, so we can see who's logged into what machine or what automation is actually running successfully, or if something breaks, we don't have to go through and look through Excel documents and stuff. We just pop open a web page and we can see it.
Cool. Yeah, it sounds like it's been pretty valuable for you so far. Why don't we take a look at your project that you wanted to show us?
Sure. Kevin showed you Project 3, which is the fun one, so I'll show you the one that's deceptively hard. Before I show it, let's say something about it, because if I pull it up, it's a little boring looking at first. The goal of this is to make a neighborhood map that runs full screen on a Google Maps background. And personally, I also tried to make it look very Google Maps, so when I pull it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. But on the back end, there's an awful lot going on. We're supposed to connect in real time to API endpoints. So it pulls in Foursquare information on locations. It pulls in panoramas and shows those. And then also there's a big part of it is learning to use a model view controller, or in this case, model view view model framework, which is a JavaScript framework that allows you to update things in real time, but only as you need them. If anybody listening is familiar with Angular, it's similar to that, but it's actually Knockout is the one that we were using. And I will pull that up real quick.
Yeah, and you said it was a neighborhood map. What kind of things are going to be shown on this map? Actually, it'll be easier when you pull it up, but...
Yep. So we had like most of the projects, you saw that his game didn't look anything like theirs. We have quite a bit of freedom as to what we wanted this to be, as long as it worked on Google Maps. So in my case, you can see a lot of points here at first, and this is I'm in Oklahoma City, so that's where this is at. And you can see as I highlight over something on the list, the points on the actual map change color as well. So they're associated in the back end. Anything over here will also change on the list over there. And if I select one here, it'll pull in tips from Foursquare, and it does that in real time. It stores it into local storage on the back end. And then this is a completely different API from Google to look at a panorama in that location. You can also do real-time filtering, so I don't have to hit submit or anything. If I just start typing in here, it'll automatically know and update in real time whatever I'm doing. So I can filter it down to just pizza, and these are the pizza places around me that I recommended. And a lot of this CSS stuff, you can hide or show things, do this, and then it's responsive as well, which is another big thing that I didn't even really ever think about before this front-end degree, is that it needs to be able to work on multiple size screens, which once you think about it, it's pretty obvious, but isn't really something you think about if you're not making it. You just expect it to work. So yeah.
Cool. And you said it was pretty challenging. Maybe you can talk about some of the challenges you faced and how you kind of overcame them?
Yeah, absolutely. Part of it is using what's called Ajax, which is something we hadn't touched on very much until we got to this part of the project. That's instead of reloading this page, it reaches out, finds information from some other server. In this case, a lot of the time it's either Google or Foursquare, pulling that information back into this front-end app and then displaying it without ever reloading the page. So that was a new concept and something new. And then it's more difficult sometimes to do that if you're not doing it off your own server. So you have to be careful for cross-site. And also, this is the first time that I had ever used a large framework and had to work with something that basically isn't just vanilla JavaScript or jQuery or the DOM or CSS. It's very, very useful, but it's another thing where it's a whole new concept. It keeps your interests separated on the page. So there's just a lot of information to absorb, a lot of pieces to put together and make them look like they're simple, even though they're not. So that was a challenge.
Cool. Well, great. Yeah, that's awesome. And then last two questions again before we get to the Q&A. Same ones we asked Kevin. Why don't you just tell us, after completing the Nano degree, do you think that the $200 a month was worth it for you? Why or why not? And are you satisfied?
It was for me, and I am satisfied. And I'll be blunt, that the program, if it had stayed the way it was when I very first signed up, would not have been worth. I wouldn't have done it for free, honestly. But what I've discovered about Udacity as a company is that the things that don't work get fixed pretty rapidly, considering how new all of this stuff is, and all of it is fixed very clearly based on student feedback. And you'll see 2 or 3 people say something on the forum. You'll almost immediately, within that day, see somebody from Udacity comment on it. And then if you see it changed within 2 weeks, you're not too surprised. I moved quite a bit faster than average on this program, so the self-paced thing was important. So the $200 probably cost me a little less than it does for some people. But even like you said, I signed right back up for another Nano degree. So obviously, I thought that the $200 was worth it. The way that the program currently is much, much better. it follows an awful lot like what you would do if you're in a front-end job. You have to go in, get the basis of everything you're doing, which is what Udacity provides, and then if you're signed up for the official program, the Nano Degree, you get very clear-cut goals and a review that help you point out the things that you're still missing, find out where your weaknesses and gaps still are. And like Kevin said, that a very large portion of it is community. But when we say community, a lot of people think like the other students and such, but another thing I noticed about Udacity is that it's by far and away from the online learning I've done, they're the most active in the program. If I go on the forums, and because I was further along, I answered a lot of questions, like 250 plus, I think, just during the time I was in the front end. So I did learn quite a bit that way, but the whole time I was answering questions, a lot of times I was lucky, even though I had an immediate subscription by email to see a question popped up, I was lucky if a instructor didn't also answer it almost at the exact same time. And even if I did, a lot of times an instructor would come back and either flag it as, yes, this is a good answer, you can trust he's not just blowing smoke, or they would give some more detail and say, on top of what he said, maybe you should look at this blog post or whatever else, which is pretty refreshing, I think, regardless of whether you're used to traditional education or online education. That interaction with the people that are actually teaching and grading is great.
Well, good. Yeah, that's awesome. And then one final question for you, for those students that are out here right now, prospective students thinking about signing up. What advice would you have for them?
Well, first and the most obvious is you get a 7-day free trial, which you'd be surprised how much of this you can knock out in 7 days if you pick your 7 days pretty well. Come in, knock out the HTML to CSS, project 1, get a decent amount into project 2, or if you don't have enough time, just do project 1. Either way, you'll get to see what the community looks like. You'll get to see that the forum and the chat are seamless. You can be in the middle of watching a video and doing it, and there's like a little button, you pop it up, and you can chat with people in real time to say, hey, can someone help me out with this? You'll know within that 7 days pretty likely whether this is something that you'll get some benefit from. But on the less, structured side, my best advice would be to don't expect people to give you everything you need in this program. Udacity does not hold your hand on everything. They, with Project 1 they kind of do, and Project 2 a little bit less. But as you get into this, they expect you to go and Google search for an answer. They expect you to pick a library to go, like I used Lodash on one of mine. They expect you to read through documentation and find answers to questions that aren't spelled out ABC, in the actual videos and structure. Or if you don't want to go external, then go ask on the forums or whatever else. And I think that that's a lot different than traditional education, so it's important that people come in with the mindset that if they want to get something out of this, they're going to have to do a little bit of legwork. But also that puts, at least from everything I can tell, that puts you in the same sort of situation that you're going to be in this career forever. I mean, I from every single developer I've talked to, I mean, that's literally half your job is doing your job, and the other half is staying current or looking up documentation or learning about new frameworks or whatever else. So you get that experience almost as if you're already doing it, which I think is great, at least for this. I mean, I wouldn't want to do this for architecture, but for front-end web development, it's awesome.
Well, great. Well, thanks for sharing, both Dallas and Kevin. You guys were awesome. And let's jump into some questions.
Let's jump into some questions. All right. Cool. So we are officially transitioning to the Q&A section now. So we will be looking at the most common voted questions, and right now, just giving you the opportunity to just browse through all the questions that have been asked, +1, upvote them if you think that they should be, if you feel like that these questions should be answered, and if you have a question, post them up yourself. Yeah. Okay, so it looks like, so let me just browse through it. It looks like the
saw one for 12.
Saw one for +12. This is a big question here, so I'm going to select this question now. A question from Amon Tenny. I'm curious to hear what kind of weight a Nano Degree will/should carry with potential employers, particularly someone who's not sponsoring and or collaborating with Udacity.
I can help a little with that one.
Yeah, go ahead, Dallas.
Because we're active in the community, we talk to some of these people who are doing, and Kevin's done interviews, so he can give some on this as well. I'm sure that it's not gonna, every traditional company is not gonna look at that and be like, oh, you got a nano degree, you're hired. But beyond just the push of this nano degree, which I think a lot of people in Silicon Valley and the bigger companies already know. I mean, the guy who's running this stuff used to do Google Smart Car. I mean, it's not like it's coming from nowhere. But more importantly, when you come out of the nano degree, you have portfolio items. You have projects that show that you can read documentation, you can learn major frameworks, you can use jQuery, you can do clean code, you can follow style guides, you understand CSS, HTML, JavaScript, jQuery, you understand all the basics, and like Kevin said, you've learned how to learn, so you can demonstrate that you know how to do that. And I think a lot of the employees, at least from what I've seen, everybody has their own stack, which is basically their way of saying their own technology pieces they've put together like a puzzle. So the chances of you knowing exactly what it is that they're using is pretty slim anyway. Most of them, I think, are looking for you to display that you're able to pick up what they're doing. And you come out of the nano degree, regardless of whether they care that you even have a nano degree, with some sort of evidence that shows that you are capable of that.
Great, thank you, Dallas. Kevin, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, sure. I can add to that. I guess from my own personal experience, I only applied to 2 places. They were both in Silicon Valley, but they both started the conversation for me. They both well, one was Udacity, so of course they would value the nano degree, but the other one was Make School, and it was for a front end. It was just listed as a front end developer position, and it started the conversation. They were interested. They got the interview process rolling. The fact that I didn't have a visa was what stopped it, not that they didn't think I was qualified. So for myself, I was 2 for 2 on it, and I know that people in Korea have turned nano degrees into one guy in Korea turned it into a internship. I know somebody in the States got a job as just a general software engineer working for a company that gets contracted out to do medical data, something to do with medical data storage for contracted out by Apple. I know lots of success stories. I haven't heard anybody complain that they got tossed out because they had a nano degree, but I think it'll depend on the employer, but there's a lot of excitement around nano degrees from what I've heard.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Kevin. So hopefully, Eamon, that helps you give you the information you need to make a better informed decision. All right. So there's another question here, and I think this from Paul here. This is very relevant for both of you, Kevin and Dallas.
Perfect question.
Perfect question. How much overlap is there between the full stack web developer nano degree and the front-end web developer nano degree? What are the important differences?
I'll start with that again. I'm now on project 4, so I'm actually a little bit, tiny bit ahead on that, and there's no way that I would be there if I didn't take front end, but.
Oh, excuse me, Dallas. You just want to confirm for everyone, you are a part of the full stack now.
Yeah, sorry, project 4 of the full stack, which is okay. I've already finished the front end, and now I'm doing the full stack. There is some overlap, and there's some of the things that you learn from project, in the front end that you use in full stack, but not quite as many as you might think, because the full stack mostly is. It is full stack. I mean, you have to do this front end stuff, but mostly you're concentrating on back end, Python and quite a few things that you use to build the back end, learning about routes and that sort of thing. OAuth. However, if I came into the full stack nano degree and I had not done the front end, I would be lost, because it's expected that you already know how to write JavaScript and do CSS and HTML. You're not getting graded on that very much. Or reviewed on that. It's an implicit part of the project that you'll be able to have your front end working, but it's not so much structured, and they're caring whether you have very good front end the way that it is on the front end Nano Degree. They do complement each other, but there's not quite as much overlap. I would say more than overlap. It's just that one is, if you don't have some front end knowledge, you're going to be lost on the full stack. So if you're asking which one to start with and you're at ground zero, do the front end.
Awesome. Kevin, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that's pretty much my opinion in Dallas's words. That's bang on.
Great. Jeff, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, no, that was perfect. I mean, as long as you have a little bit of front end, like Dallas said, he went through front end first. If you have no experience at all with front end development with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, then yeah, the full stack web developer Nano Degree is going to be really challenging. But if you do start with this first, you're going to have plenty of experience, and you're going to have the prereqs you need to get going with full stack.
Awesome, great. Paul, hopefully that answers your question. Thank you for the question.
Yeah. Let's see here. How about this next one? 10?
10, yeah.
Yeah. So let's see here. So we got a question. Compared to Treehouse or Lynda, what do you think the difference is? And I don't know if Dallas or Kevin, if you have any experience with those two sites, but if so, great. If not, maybe you can just talk about some emphasize some of the key features that you took away as the main benefits from enrolling.
Right.
So for myself, I've never tried Treehouse, or if I have, I didn't last for longer than a day or long enough to remember it. I got a free Lynda subscription when I enrolled in that kind of university, one of the correspondence classes I was talking about. Lynda's good if you want. Lynda is like video tutorials. So if you want to sit and watch a video tutorial, I think that's what Lynda kind of offers. The difference with Udacity is, I guess if you only access the free materials, it's more similar. But Udacity focuses on projects. Each course it caps off with a project that you can kind of build and show and demonstrate to potential employers or to yourself that you can actually do it. So Lynda might walk you through a task, and you can follow the video and do it. I guess Udacity, you're building something, you're acquiring the skill, and you're putting it to use. And then, as I mentioned, if you do go for a paid option or the Nano Degree, you add in that community support, the students, the instructors, which make it an entirely different experience, I think.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I've only done a little. I've honestly haven't used Lynda at all. I did a little bit on Treehouse, but not a lot. Don't get me wrong, Treehouse is pretty cool. From the little bit I did, their website design especially, I'm a little jealous of whoever does their front end. He's obviously good.
Yeah.
And the way that their stuff is set up is really clean and nice. Their designers are good. As you're going through learning, it is effective, but unless I'm missing something from the full experience, it's not so much that it's more if you've used Code School, whoever's used it, it's more similar to that. It's very structured code quizzes and puzzles. You go through a few things. It's like an animated web page. You learn some stuff, which is pretty cool and useful. And then you have like a, very rigid do this to show that you've learned that kind of experience. Which, if that's better for you, then it's useful. But it doesn't have the same kind of feel to it. It doesn't have that free form where you feel lost and you overcome it and then you feel rewarded. It doesn't feel anything like what it's going to feel when you get an actual job, which is kind of what I think part of the benefit of Udacity is you will get lost, and even if you're like me and you were like way ahead, it doesn't matter. I was ahead probably because I put in more hours in a short amount of time, not because I was amazing or something. Like I got lost. I had no idea what the heck I was doing, and then I found some key piece and I built on that. And then once you do it, you look at your project. It doesn't look the exact same as everyone else's, and you feel like you did something and really learned something. you overcome some challenge, and it really kind of sticks with you more than any of the other online I've done for that reason. Code School is helpful. I did some Node stuff on there, and I did some ES6 stuff on Treehouse, and it is cool. But I've already forgotten like 80% of what I learned on there, and if I want to know it, I'm going to have to kind of refresh with other resources. Whereas there's not a single project that I did at Udacity that I don't remember every detail, because I had to struggle through those things by either watching the video and then pushing myself through documentation or whatever. I mean, it was my work, not just a code quiz. Except, Project 1 and 2, just as a disclaimer, when you come in, Project 1 and 2 are pretty rigid. You don't get a lot of freedom there because you have to learn the basics. But as you get into this program, your ability to do whatever you want and make it your project is a big part of it, I think.
Cool.
Great, awesome.
Thanks from both of you. Yeah,
Thanks,
I think really what it comes down to is finding a platform that works for you. We hope it's Udacity. We hope hearing the stories from Dallas and Kevin have been great. But whatever works best for you.
Exactly.
Like they said, all of our courses are completely free, so feel free to try them out. Go through a couple of them, see if you like the format. But yeah, what it really comes down to is the projects at the end, where you'll actually get some feedback from us and the evaluators, and you'll get specific feedback on what you did well, what you can improve upon, that sort of thing. So.
Great. Thank you.
One really short thing to end that one. Keep in mind that as you go through this Nano Degree, if you're the type of person who probably should be going through this Nano Degree, you're going to get excited about this stuff anyway, and then Udacity is not going to be all you do. I mean, you're probably going to go use Code School or Treehouse or at the very least go through Egghead.io and just like free stuff. You're going to be absorbing this. You'll find yourself, if anything, going off on side things. So don't get too stuck on whether this is better than that or whatever, because once you try one or two of them, you're probably going to find yourself in a bunch of them anyway. So.
Cool. Yeah,
Great.
Thanks, Dallas. That's perfect. Let's see here. One more. We got a couple more questions. We still got 15 minutes or so.
Yeah. So let's see what would be a good question.
I think
this is a good one, really.
Cool.
Yeah. So Halpay actually asked a question. Dallas, how has your skills from your Defend added to your current job?
Like I said, I did develop some. Actually, I'm still doing it. I just added some brand new stuff to it today. I'm developing some things that I kind of do as my own accord that aren't necessarily under my job description there, but make my job easier and those on my team. The skills I learned here allow me to do that, and I could probably cobble something together without it, but it allows me to do it in a way that isn't junk, basically. And it also opens up a lot of doors. Not only has it gotten me re-excited to go back and do development, which is, I don't know if that's going to do that for any other students, but, I've found myself off on all kinds of stuff. I'm doing a side project. I'm recreating one that, has a token system for rewards for the kids. I'm doing all kinds of stuff that wouldn't have had anything to do with this thing. And those are skills that I can also put on my resume at work. So not only in my current job am I able to actually use it, although unfortunately a little bit more limited than I would like, but I know how to use databases better now. This is full stack, but still the Nano Degree stuff. And then the front end, I'm actually using CSS and everything. And then this is ugly land here, but for anybody in corporate America, SharePoint is like a beast that is really difficult to tame. But if you know some CSS, you can write some things that make it less ridiculous and put it into like a content editor thing and pop it in there. So my SharePoint sites at work now are not the most ugly thing you've ever seen. There's quite a few areas that I've found myself using it that I didn't expect. But I think really the big part is, like I talked about before, there's this big push for web for Workplace 2020, and those are the kind of skills that are going to make me relevant. So, as I see other people moving on or losing their place, I'm going to be more than happy to fill it up for them. So.
Cool.
Great. Thank you, Dallas. Thank you. So hopefully that answers your question, Halpei. We have a question from Adam. I think this is a really good question.
All right, cool.
How is this program in relation to similar traditional college certificates? What certifications would a student pursue after finishing what complementary classes, MOOC or traditional, or what degrees would students and what students look at? I think Kevin, I think you have some experience with this type of certification process, right? That you took on at traditional colleges.
Yeah, okay, a little bit. So as part of my finance degree, I did take some computer science classes, and then I am enrolled in right now. It's called the Athabasca University, and I've taken a few. I've taken 2 classes, but I've had credit waived for 4 or 5 other classes. So I'm on my way to getting a bachelor's degree in computing and information systems. And I might finish that. I might not. I would say that they're not the same thing. So traditional type colleges or universities, they're going to be teaching you out of textbooks that are at least a year old. The one I'm reading right now is from it's like a revision of one that was originally published in 1992, I think. And I would say that the major difference for me is the currency of the material. So with something like web development, where it seems like every few months there's something new, universities can't keep up, or traditional brick and mortar universities, I would say, can't keep up with that pace. They're teaching out of a textbook, and I mean, there's good knowledge. There's a lot of theoretical knowledge you'll learn there, but this is more, their nano degrees are more project-based, current. They're going to keep you, it's more job relevant. So if you want, I think if you're more interested in theory, if you want to write a book yourself, really study in depth something, maybe you want to go to get one of these college certificates. If you're looking to get a job, get started in web development in the next year or so, or 6 months, and you want to get your foot in the door and learn on the job, then I would say Nano Degree would be the route for you.
Cool.
Awesome, thank you. So that's, do you have any comment to add?
No, I mean, that's perfect. I think it all depends on the person, but you know, signing up for a nano degree, for example, will just give you that flexibility. If you're working full time, like you can actually take these courses, you can work through the projects on your own time. You don't necessarily have to like take off a year from work or whatever to go back to school. So
right.
It is nice, and you can do it from the comfort of your home. You don't have to go to a classroom or anything. I think it really depends on you, but it does give you that added flexibility.
Yeah, so
it won't cost you $50,000 either. So
that's true.
Yeah, that's very true. Thanks, Dale. So, in addition, I'll have one note to add. That is, with Udacity's way of teaching, like what Dallas and Kevin alluded to, we actually ask you to find the information out for yourself. Become resourceful. And then that is actually, I think, one of the most valuable skills that you can ever show to an employer, that you are adaptable, you are resourceful, and you are able to pick up things without having to basically have everything handed to you already. Because, you know, again, in the real world situation, things change a lot, and how do you adapt? How do you stay flexible? How do you stay fast? And how do you stay resourceful? And Udacity, we offer that type of learning environment versus other type of certifications and courses that traditional colleges have offered.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll give you the basics, but then to take your projects and everything to the next level, you're gonna have to do a lot of outside learning, and yeah, like everyone said, it's a skill you'll need.
Exactly. Totally agree. All right, so we have like basically few minutes left, and this is the most.
Should we just fire through them 1 minute each?
This is the most upvoted
30
one.
seconds?
Yeah, so this is the most upvoted one so far by Babak. What are some of the technology stacks that's covered in your FEN program? I've heard Kevin and Dallas talk about Angular and Knockout. Is there special emphasis on other libraries and frameworks such as Meteor, React? So I'll just go ahead and answer this question. We use Knockout framework for our MVC, model view control framework. We don't use any Angular or Meteor, Ember, or Backbone or anything like that. So, and the reason why we use Knockout is because Knockout is simple enough for the student to actually learn and understand. And once you learn that this more simple library, then the student will be able to go ahead and learn the other more in-depth frameworks, such as Angular. Mm-hmm. We also learn JavaScript testing framework using the Jasmine library, and that is a library for doing testing. So JavaScript testing, basically, if you're working with a ton of other people, and if you need to push something live, you actually have an automatic scripting program that actually does testing that actually simulates if a person were to actually physically click on things and were to physically load up a page and were to physically check on a certain feed whether it works. So basically, this Jasmine framework allows you to automate all those things.
Cool.
Cool.
Next question.
Next question. So let's see.
This is a good one for you too. Leah asks, how did you participate in the communities?
Sure. I'll make it quick. They originally used Piazza and HipChat. And actually, due to user feedback, if they've now got their own solutions built into the Udacity platform, you don't have to go to third party. One login gets you into everything. But those are the two really big things for community. You go in, you answer other students' questions. Anybody in your Nano Degree, they have this thing called Cohorts. So the people who started in the same degree at the same month as you will be in there. And actually, we didn't mention that during this, but that's another thing about the self-paced. If you're slow, for time reasons or whatever, you'll get pushed back a cohort. There's no real penalty. You just get moved to other people who are probably on the same projects as you. So you can go onto the forum and answer their questions, have them answer your questions. Really, there's no restriction as to what you can talk about as long as I think you're good about it. But like we've talked about what frameworks to use or what the best solution is, and then a very big part of it is the chat, real-time talking to people. You feel when you ask a question and you get an almost immediate response, even if that response is just from another student, it's a much more, I don't know if familial is the right word, but it's definitely more community feeling. You feel like you're not doing it alone. So.
Yeah. Cool. And for those of you out there that aren't sure what Piazza or HipChat is a way to basically chat with other people.
Yeah.
Those were the two that, and Piazza is more of a forum system, so. We've kind of moved to new systems since then, but again, you'll have a forums to talk with other people in the community, as well as a chat feature where you can talk right then and there.
One thing that I would want to add on how to participate in the communities is to help each other and actually do code reviews for each other. You will learn a lot. I guarantee you learn a lot by reading other people's code, trying to understand what they're trying to do, and then trying to figure out how to fix it and help them. Because basically, that's what you'll be doing in the real world anyway.
Yeah.
You'll be collaborating with other developers and work on their code and try to understand what they did and helping them debug their code. So again,
for sure. Without going very long, that not directly with Udacity, but once you get to know some of the people that are in your cohort, or maybe in a cohort near yours, so once you get to know a couple other community members, you'll also find that you wind up going and looking at their GitHub. So GitHub winds up being a pretty big part of the community too, even though it's not directly related. I think I've probably gone through like 20 different people's versions of some of the projects I finished to see how they did it compared to how I did it, and that's pretty awesome.
Great, thank you, Dallas. So
we want to get to all your questions, so we'll keep answering a few of these here. Looks like our next one is
from Diana Hummel.
Yep, Diana asks, I might have missed this, but Dallas, you said you were working for AT&T. Are you doing the front-end web developer, or were you hired for? Oh, are you doing front-end web development, or were you hired for something else you already had experience in? If you had to find work based on your Nano degree, do you think you could?
Well, that's two or three-parter. You probably got it from listening to the rest of it, but no, I'm not a front-end web developer directly. I actually work in workforce management and do reporting. I am a developer. Like, I make all the reports, run servers, but if you ask anyone at AT&T, I'm not. at a company that big, a lot of times you fill whatever role is needed. So no, I didn't get hired for that, and at least not yet. I'm still kind of looking to see what's available. But the second part of your question, do I think I could get a job with it? Absolutely. Yeah. Courses. Not just what I learned in the front end, though. I mean, what I've learned through the Nano Degree combined with what I've learned on my own, and what I know I can pick up for whatever resource I needed, I have no doubt whatsoever that I could find a job if I needed to.
Great, Dallas. Thank you for your answer. Hopefully, Diana, that helps you with your decision, trying to understand what the value of this Nano Degree. Thank you so much for your question. We have a question from Leah. This is a more general question. How many courses total to get a front-end development certificate? And so you basically take 6 courses. These are the core courses, and the courses are HTML, CSS, JavaScript basics, object-oriented JavaScript. The 4th course is website optimization. The 5th course is JavaScript design patterns, and this is where you actually learn about more the complicated design patterns, especially relating to model view control. And the 6th course, which we will be releasing very soon, actually, will be JavaScript testing, and that's the course where you'll be learning how to create automated testing scripts for your projects.
For sure. And then, like Dallas said earlier, and Kevin, we take student feedback into account. And since then, we've even come out with a couple additional mini courses just to get you familiar with some of the concepts that you'll be using in the projects. So, yeah, like he said, those are the 6 main courses, and then there are a few more as well to give you that additional information.
Great, thank you. And I think we have time for one more question.
Sounds good.
This will be the last question. I'm on the fence between a Nano Degree and a course, or a few at a well-established local coding school.
That's a good point.
Their advantages are the frontal lessons and collaborative actual human interaction. What would you say are Udacity's?
Yeah.
So basically, you're saying the advantages are, frontal lessons and collaborative actual human interaction. And for some people may need that. And that, if you feel like you need a real life person to teach you how to code and real life people to talk with, then that's a really good option for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't have to take off time, I know some boot camps, coding boot camps, you have to take 3 months off if you're at your job because you're going to be going 8 hours a day. I'm not so sure about this coding school. Maybe it's an evening kind of thing,
maybe
or weekends or something.
Yeah.
If that's the case, and that works for you, then great. I do think one nice benefit with a Nano Degree program is it's self-paced. You're able to do it on your own time, so you can keep a 40-hour-a-week, 50-hour-a-week job, whatever it might be, and then when you do find time, whether it's in the evenings, in the mornings, whenever it is throughout the day, spend a little bit of the time each day working through this. It's really at your own pace, which is nice. Gives you that added flexibility, like I was saying before.
Yeah. So and then with the coding school, they basically guide you from A to Z, and you'll be working with the project. You have some sort of mentor, a real human person to guide you. And if you are a person who really needs that, then yeah, for sure that option will be a better option for you. Now, if you're a person who wouldn't mind being a little more independent, as well as being challenged by having us just steer you in the right direction, and then you have to go ahead and figure things out on your own, and that's the challenge. I think that's one of the advantages for us that we can provide to students. If you really want a challenge, and if you really want to be able to really deeply learn things and figure things out on your own, kind of simulating how a real job would be like, then yeah, Udacity would. I think Udacity would be a good option for you.
Yeah, and then just to add on that, as Kevin and Dallas were talking a lot about, you have this community that you get to go through the entire Nano Degree with. You're working on all these projects independently, of course, but you're all facing similar challenges. You're all asking for help, helping each other out when you can, which is great. You'll get that assistance at a coding school, but here you're going to be with hundreds of other students, We'll all have great experiences and advice to bring to the table. And then at the end, we're going to help you get that job if that's what you're looking for. We'll do our best to give you all the resources and tools you need to take that next step and change careers if that's what you're looking for.
Great.
I have one more piece of feedback for that.
Go ahead.
So, from a student perspective, I mean, we're talking about front-end nanodegree right here, for example, and both of the students on this call we're not in the program anymore, and we haven't been for at least a month. So one of the benefits is that I never felt like I finished. I think I had mentioned this to Kevin and these guys before. Once I was out of the program, I was still talking to the same people. I still get to go on the forums and answer questions for students, even though I don't have an active, or I do now because I've started a new nano degree. But in the gap there, I was still answering questions and talking to people and learning. I could still go back and review projects, still be on chat. So that community continues once you're done. Whereas unless you just have some local friends you meet at school, when you go to school, once you finish, you're done. Like you leave school, you don't come back. So that I'm sure you can still talk to that instructor sometimes or whatever. But once you're done, you don't stop being a member of that community. And as a matter of fact, they just created a Nano Degree graduate alumni group on LinkedIn and some other things. Those of us that have finished have already had a couple web conferences to talk about people who have gone on and got internships or, to tell us how their experience is. That community, if anything, has gotten stronger after we finished the program than when it was while we were in the program, which I think is probably fairly unique to this experience.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dallas. Thanks for sharing that insight to us. Yeah. So
anything last comments you want to add there, Kevin?
Kevin, yeah.
About that question?
Or anything that you want to share?
I'm going to jump in here if I can. I see Darren McDonald is a fellow Canadian that wanted to get a hold of me. I'll give you, Darren. I'm not big on Twitter, but I'll give you my my email address here if I can. And anybody else, I don't know if this is showing up on your screen here.
Yeah, it's showing up on our screen.
It's kevin.mayo@udacity.com. And Darren, if you want to get in touch, or anybody else, if you have questions or interested in getting started with a front-end nano degree, this will just you can get a hold of me. It'll just be my own opinion, or I can put you in touch with somebody at Udacity who can get you an answer. I'm also in touch with Dallas. If you have a question, I can probably get an answer from him. But if your question didn't get answered, fire it off to me. I'll try and answer it this weekend if you like.
Awesome. That's very generous of you, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Cool.
Awesome. So we are basically finished with this Nano Degree Q&A. Thank you, everyone, for joining in, and we appreciate your time. I hope you got a lot out of it and got the information that you need to make the best informed decision for yourself. We just posted up this coupon code again for enrollment. Enrollment begins today, and it
ends next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, as well as if you are inclined, if you have a little bit of time, there is also a link for a survey for us too. It's the Google link. It's the goo.gl link, and it's a quick 3-4 question survey to help us get feedback from this Hangout in order for us to further improve this Q&A session for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. Was it helpful for you? Was it not?
Yeah.
Any advice you have for us on making it a better experience? Greatly appreciated.
Mind if I answer Leah just real fast there?
Yeah, for sure.
I see that question over there, Leah, where you asked if there's books or PDFs to download, and just the format's not really that kind of format. It's if the reason you're asking is so you can go and take it and look at it, on the drive or whatever, unless your passenger to work. It does work really well on mobile. Like the entire platform is designed in the framework where it's very responsive and it works well on a phone or a tablet. But it's all either video or some of it's code interaction where you actually put in code and it checks. I mean, it's all stuff that is interactive or at the very least rich media. So there's no PDF or book most of the time. The only thing you'll download is either some like files that give you a framework to work from, or mock-ups or something you're supposed to copy, that sort of thing.
Great.
Yeah, and just to add on that, what Dallas said about it's very mobile. You can put it on your phone. We have an Android and an iPhone app. Feel free to download it. Search for Udacity. And what's nice is you can, if you're working on a course, you can download all the lessons ahead of time. Let's say you're going on a road trip or you commute to work or whatever it might be. Yeah, you can download all those ahead of time, then watch them while you're commuting. It's really nice. It's convenient. But yeah, other than that, I think that's pretty much it. So thanks everyone for joining, and good luck, and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you all. Bye.